I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief, where we bring you the top stories making headlines in Israel, and we do it every Monday to Thursday with the help of these guys, a lay of the land. Now, we might look slightly different today, trying up a new look. Let us know if you like it, where you think we can improve. We're always interested in your feedback, but let us know if you prefer this new look or the previous look, which was actually on the other end of the studio. But enough about the logistics. Let's talk about the news. And we begin with news that a rocket was fired from Lebanon into northern Israel, close to the town of Hajar earlier today. And the IDF have confirmed it and said that they have fired artillery in response. Now, this comes at a time of heightened tension on the northern border, as Hezbollah have erected 2 tents in the Sheba Farms area. Now, this is territory that Israel captured from Syria during the 1967 Six-Day War. Hezbollah have taken down one of the tents and returned to their territory, but the IDF is keeping a careful watch on the second tent. Yesterday, news cleared for publication that Israeli-Russian dual citizen Elizabeth Tsukov, who had gone missing in Iraq, was officially kidnapped. Now, according to a statement by the Prime Minister's office, she is believed to be held in Iraq by a Shiite militia group called Kataib Hezbollah. It is believed that she is alive and well and was in Iraq working on her doctorate. She is a doctoral student at Princeton University. Now, her sister, speaking to Israeli news earlier today, said that she knows she is still alive and she's very relieved at that, but would spare any family the anxiety and sleepless night. According to her sister Emma, she used to communicate with Elizabeth on a daily basis, and when she didn't return her messages, she knew that something was wrong. The statement from the government press office went on to say that the relevant authorities in the state of Israel are working for her safe return. We hope that Elizabeth is returned back to her loved ones very, very soon. Now, yesterday I brought you the story that a BBC reporter made comments that can only be described as a blood libel while she was interviewing former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett. The BBC journalist in question, Anjani Gadjil, said that it seems that IDF forces are happy to kill children. She neglected to put into context the whole issue about child soldiers, how they are recruited, how the UN and various human rights organizations have taken the Palestinians to task for that. And when an incredulous Naftali Bennett asked her what would she do if there was a terrorist, even 17 years old, out to kill her, she couldn't give an answer. Well, the Board of Deputies of British Jews and several other organizations escalated complaints to the Director General of the BBC. The BBC offered an apology, saying that it was a legitimate question. However, it was phrased inaccurately or incorrectly and inappropriately, and that they had covered the wider Jenin operation with a impartial and robust way. Well, I beg to differ. I think the BBC have violated their own impartiality laws. And, you know, it always strikes me as interesting. We seem to be going through the same cycle, rinse and repeat with the BBC. And, you know, it's great that they've apologized. What we need is for them to internalize why we keep objecting to the way that they are reporting. And perhaps it is time for the BBC to release the long-buried Balin report, which exposes their systematic and institutionalized bias against the state of Israel. And finally, last night, protests broke out across the country when news broke that the police chief of Tel Aviv, Ami Eshed, had handed in his resignation. Eshed is the latest police chief to butt heads with National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, who accused him of not using enough force against protesters. Now, while there has been criticism for protesters for blocking roads, it is still the democratic right of Israelis to protest anything that they disagree with in the government or any other issue for that fact. And protests can be held, on both sides of any argument. Eshed joins the police commissioner, Kobi Shabtai, who also last week said that he cannot continue his tenure and continue into another year because he has a moral and ethical imperative to protect his police, and it's no secret that he and Ben-Gvir disagree. It also comes at a time where at least 20 former police commissioners have called on Prime Minister Netanyahu to fire Itamar Ben-Gvir. So he remains a very, very polarizing character here in the state of Israel. It hasn't been announced who will replace Ami Eshed. And just on a note, there was some criticism against him as well today that maybe he shouldn't be making certain comments while he still wears a uniform. And that brings us to the end of today's edition of the Israel Brief. I tell you, this week has felt like the longest year because there have been so many issues to talk about in Israel. As always, it is extremely, extremely complicated. However, as our co-founder of Lay of the Land writes in an op-ed this week, which you can find on our website at www.layoftheland.online, no matter how much we may squabble amongst ourselves in Israel, the one thing we always agree on is that Israel is here to stay. And if you agree with that, you can read the article. It's up on our Facebook page as well. You can find us at Lottel's site. Like us, follow us, share our content. Don't forget to subscribe to the Israel Brief. Our channel is at the Israel Brief on YouTube. Click on that red subscribe button. And hey, if you have an opinion on anything that has been said, share it with us. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree. But one thing that we agree on is that we are always open to chatting to each other. And we're also on Twitter at Lay of the Land 5. I'm Rolene Marks with a whole lot of new things happening at the Israel Brief. Have a wonderful weekend. Shabbat Shalom, and I'll catch you again on Monday.